Happening now, residents speak out about New York's vaccine mandate, what they want our local lawmakers to do. Plus, we're learning more about a fatal stabbing in Jamestown as the case against the prime suspect came to a close yesterday.
Well, that widespread rain has finally moved out of the area, but that fall air is going to be here to stay. We'll talk about it in detail next as the News at Noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now. This is WNY News Now with live breaking news.
New York State's health commissioner has resigned. Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould, and we start with breaking news. New York Governor Kathy Hochul announced that news during the COVID-19 briefing this morning. Dr. Howard Zucker has been under fire for his close ties with former Governor Andrew Cuomo and the handling of COVID-19 deaths in nursing homes. Hochul says she made it clear on her first day in office that she planned to build a new team, but thanked Dr. Zucker for his willingness to stay on. He was first appointed to that position by Cuomo. Chautauqua County residents are taking a stand against New York State's COVID-19 vaccine mandate for healthcare workers and calling on the county legislature to create a constitutional sanctuary. Dozens of people from across the area gathered prior to last night's legislature meeting in Mayville to express their concerns.
Our country is becoming entangled into a web of deception, betrayal, and fear. Last 2 years, we have all been in fear about COVID, but we need to reunite as one.
Last month, Cattaraugus County lawmakers passed a resolution similar to what the group's calling for.
We are asking you to stand for the rights of workers and adopt a freedom ordinance, of which we are petitioning. We have hundreds. As of today, we have over 500 signatures, and we just started the petition 1 week ago.
Asheville resident Kathy Abate was among those who gathered, calling on lawmakers to draft a constitutional sanctuary resolution.
We request Chautauqua County government to impose penalties, fines, and administrative censure on any for-profit or non-profit business and organization which would terminate or furlough any employees or deny individuals the opportunity for commerce on the basis of their mandatory compliance with COVID-19 policies and procedures.
Continued debate, who then asked lawmakers if they would sponsor such bill, in which none responded. Not everyone at the meeting was in support of the demonstrators, including the county's budget director, Kathleen Dennison.
I am not in favor of a constitutional sanctuary. We just need to get vaccinated. Because if you don't, for all of those that you don't, you are infringing on my personal liberties to speak now, and also my personal liberty to live in a world that's free of COVID.
Several healthcare workers also spoke out, like Jamestown nurse Victoria Knapp, who was on her way to work prior to the meeting, in what Knapp said could be her last shift due to her vaccination status.
And I just ask you to consider looking at this mandate and overturning it, or going to your powers that be to help us to continue to do our jobs, because we love what we do. We love taking care of people, and we ask that you help us to continue to take care of you and your loved ones.
Knapp warning if they don't stand up to the state, the county's healthcare availability will be in jeopardy.
We're already seeing loss of services. ORs are closing down. Upstate New York also received a closure of delivering babies. And I think that's just the beginning.
This month, healthcare workers sued the state over its COVID-19 vaccine mandate, refusing to acknowledge religious exemptions. The plaintiffs argued the order violates their religious freedom. A federal judge extended a temporary restraining order against the state's requirement to October 12th. That order does not completely eliminate the state's vaccine mandate for healthcare workers, though. As of Tuesday, those who don't have a religious or medical exemption must still get the vaccine. Chautauqua County's legislature voted last night to approve an outline allocating $24.6 million from the federal government, part of the American Rescue Plan Act. The vote followed some pushback from Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist and Dunkirk Mayor Willie Rosas, who expressed disappointment with how the county planned to spend the funding. Specifically, the two were upset that the legislature and county executive did not include funding for projects in either of the county's two largest population centers. They also said lawmakers did not work hard enough to involve the public with the allocation process, something that Jamestown area legislator Elizabeth Rankin addressed.
If somebody has ideas for change or new projects that they want to have considered, to go to your county legislator, and you will have an opportunity for that input through your county legislator. So what we're trying to do is make sure that people know this is flexible. We have a great starting plan. Things might change. The federal infrastructure money might change it.
A motion was put forward to table that vote until next month. However, that effort failed and the resolution passed. In total, the county is currently eyeing to fund 43 various projects. Both cities received American Rescue Plan money as well, with Jamestown getting more than $28 million and Dunkirk $11 million. The homicide case against a 22-year-old man sentenced to prison yesterday morning was more complicated than what law enforcement originally disclosed. Our Matt Hummel has more on the details in this case against Jamestown man Tavon Turner, who pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter in the 2017 death of Dylan Ownbay.
WNY News Now spoke with Erie County District Attorney John Flynn after the court levied its 21-year prison sentence. Flynn's staff oversaw the prosecution of Turner due to current Chautauqua County District Attorney Jason Schmidt once serving as Turner's lawyer. Flynn explains how Turner wasn't the only individual involved in Ownby's death.
This, in essence, was a fake drug deal that had gone sour. There were 5 individuals that were involved in this incident. 4 on one side and 1, the victim, on the other side, if you're looking at it in these kind of terms.
4 of the individuals lured Ownby to a Willard Street location under the pretext that they were going to sell him drugs. Flynn said that they were under the impression Ownby was going to have money on him, adding that they were, quote, basically lying to the victim and they had no drugs on them. According to Flynn, the, quote, mastermind of the fake deal took a conspiracy plea in Jamestown City Court prior to his staff's involvement. The driver of the vehicle, who reportedly never left the car, also pleaded guilty to a conspiracy charge in Jamestown City Court. 2 of the 4 co-defendants left the vehicle to interact with Ownby, that according to Flynn, and one of the individuals, Michael Patterson, and Ownby became involved in an altercation. Patterson was the only co-defendant besides Turner to be identified, and he pled guilty to second-degree attempted robbery.
They were going to be used as witnesses in our case against Mr. Turner, but we didn't end up needing them, and those 3, had already been adjudicated from a plea standpoint.
Erie County's top prosecutor says that he chose to go against his norm and continue with the plea for many reasons, one of which involved the quality of witnesses.
I didn't have any upstanding citizens, quite frankly, Matt, who were around the scene and witnessed what happened, okay? My witnesses were mainly the 3 clowns, okay, who had pled guilty already to other charges.
Overall, Flynn says that he was pleased with the results in the pursuit of seeking justice for the Ownby family.
Turner is going to be held accountable for his actions and is going to spend over 20 years in jail for taking the life of another human being.
For WNY News Now, I'm Matt Hummel.
Matt, thank you. Flynn says Patterson and the other 2 co-defendants are awaiting sentencing on their charges. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. Let us know what you think about these stories and more in the comment section down below. We always love to hear from you. It's great to see Laura, good to see Sandy, Pam, Beth, and Diane as well. Hopefully you're all having a great day out there. We thank so much for your viewership. Well, it looks like a great day weather-wise. I know we had a lot of rain last night, but you know what they say, Dakota, after the strongest storm, sometimes you have the best days.
Yes, you do. And overlooking Warren, Olean right now, and you can see it looks like a fall sky. You can see some of the peaks of sunshine peeking on through. The rain has moved out of the area now. That is the good news. So all that rain that we went through over the past couple of days, it's hightailed out of here. And you can see it on the radar. That's the back edge of it that moved through this morning. Now it's moved to the northeast. And now our friends up in Rochester are now dealing with that. That's going to be going up into the Tug Hill region, central New York, and then going up into Lake Ontario. That's where the majority of that is going. That's all in association with that strong cold front that moved through. And that front has done two things. It brought in that rain, but it's also dropping our temperatures and shifted our wind direction. So you'll see where the highs are going to be for today. A stark difference. 70 was the high yesterday. The low this morning was 55, and here's a hint, we haven't budged past 55 really today. 91 and 29 are the record highs and lows for this day. So through the afternoon, temperatures are remaining steady pretty much where they are now. The showers end, mostly cloudy, some sun peaks through the afternoon. Chilly, 57 on the hills. That's it, to 64 at the lake area water with a healthy south wind. It still will be breezy as well. Now the fall air continues through the next several days, but we still do have a chance for a few more showers in the forecast. We'll time it all out with FutureScan in that 7-day forecast later in the show. Justin.
All right, Dakota, thank you. Some people could be getting a COVID-19 booster pretty soon. Pfizer just got the FDA's emergency use authorization. And today, a CDC panel now meeting to decide whether to recommend it. And then the CDC director signing off. The booster is targeted at people 65 and up, those at high risk of severe disease, and people at risk because of their jobs, like healthcare workers, teachers, and grocery workers. The CDC is expected to fine-tune recommendations on how boosters should be given and to talk about whether and where we can go from here.
I suspect what's going to happen is we'll continue to collect data on this cohort, 65 and over, and other people who are made eligible. And eventually the agency may walk down the authorization to younger age cohorts.
But there still are millions of people who haven't gotten their first shot, and we're closing in on flu season. So many hospitals already are struggling nationwide. Experts now recommending that you get your flu vaccine. An increase in the number of school districts are turning to testing to keep more kids in the classroom this fall. Erie News Now contributor Dr. Becky Dawson is shedding more light on the effort to minimize student quarantines, saying it would allow students who have been exposed to COVID to stay in schools as long as they take frequent COVID tests and are negative. But Dr. Dawson says there are still a few things that need to be figured out before this approach can really take place, like how labor-intensive would that be, and how frequently should it occur? Also, who's going to pay for it? The CDC says at this time they don't recommend a test to stay and keep kids in school who have been potentially exposed to the risk of COVID. They say instead it's best just to stay home and quarantine. Coming up, a lot more to tell you about the push to keep local kids safe while riding in the car, what local law enforcement in Lakewood and around Chautauqua County are doing. And later, we go off to the farm to celebrate a popular barnyard animal. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Looking for a new career? New Directions Youth and Family Services is hiring and hosting open interviews on Wednesday, September 29th from noon to 4. We have a wide variety of job openings, from direct care staff to cooks, receptionists, RNs, on-call staff, and more. Learn more at fosteringgood.org.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
Located along the Amish Trail, the Randolph Retail Company offers a variety of clothing, jewelry, and gifts for any occasion. Offering uptown merchandise at small-town prices, our locally owned business balances quality and value. With complimentary gift wrap here at the Randolph Retail Company, we pride ourselves in personal service. Check out our Facebook page or stop in today at 127 Main Street, Randolph, just a 20-minute drive from Jamestown.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
New York's largest clean hydropower project has seen progress in modernization at 2 major power plants. Governor Kathy Hochul announced the completion of a major modernization at New York's Power Authority Lewiston Pump Generating Plant and the digitalization of its first 13 hydropower turbines at the Roberts Morris Niagara Power Plant. The digitization specifically is the first major milestone in a $1.1 billion project that will occur over the next 15 years. The 2 projects represent billions in clean energy infrastructure investments combined at the Niagara Power Project. Together, the generating plants can generate up to 2,600 megawatts of power. The achievements will help secure hydropower's integral goal in the state of transitioning it to 100% carbon-free electricity by 2040. Well, yesterday, the White House expressing disappointment in the bipartisan talks on police reform in Congress, which apparently died. At a briefing, Press Secretary Jen Psaki saying Republicans rejected reforms that even the previous president had supported and refused to engage on key issues that many in law enforcement were willing to address. In the coming week, Psaki said there will be consultations with the president, Congress, and law enforcement and victims' families to discuss the path forward, saying that it could include some executive action.
In the coming weeks, we're going to consult the president. We will all, our team, will consult with members of Congress, the law enforcement, civil rights communities, and victims' families to discuss a path forward, including potential executive actions the president can take to ensure we live up to the American ideal of equality, justice under law.
Now, that failed congressional effort followed some high-profile police killings last year of several black people, including George Floyd in Minneapolis and Breonna Taylor in Louisville, Kentucky. A group dedicated to helping kids stay safe are teaming up with local law enforcement here in Chautauqua County to make sure their parents are doing all they can to keep their kids safe and secure while riding in the car. Our Julia Gress has more on the child car seat checks that are going to be taking place soon.
In honor of National Child Passenger Safety Week, the Chautauqua Safety Village is hosting 2 car seat check events in a statewide effort to ensure properly fitted car and booster seats. Chautauqua Safety Village Executive Director Jessica Dayton explained the importance of the event, stating that 3 in 4 car or booster seats are installed or used incorrectly.
Sometimes parents feel because of the child's age that they're ready for a booster seat, but depending on what type of seat they have, it can be really confusing to try to figure out what seat is right for that age of a child.
According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, in 2019, an average of 2 children under 13 were killed and an estimated 374 were injured every day while riding in vehicles, and more than 1/3 were not restrained in car seats, booster seats, or seat belts.
If the child is within an inch from the top of the seat, they're too tall for that seat. And it's just little things like that you don't necessarily think about when you live, you're going about your everyday life.
The NHTSA also states that when used correctly, car seats reduce the risk of fatal injury by 71% for infants and by 54% for toddlers in passenger vehicles. The checks will be performed by certified child passenger safety technicians, including Dayton, along with the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Department and the Lakewood Bustee Police Department.
All the different car seat manufacturers make things different, and you can install a seat differently depending on what type of car seat you have or brand. So it's overwhelming and it can be very confusing. So it's really nice to have that peace of mind that you've had it checked by somebody that's been trained in it.
These events will be held on Saturday, September 25th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. or Thursday, September 30th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Chautauqua Safety Village in Nashville. Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. In addition to those seat fittings, parents and caregivers will also be able to get some information about properly installing rear-facing and forward-facing car seats, as well as booster seats at that event. A consumer watchdog group is putting pressure on the FCC to protect consumers from robocalls. The Penn PIRG Education Fund published a report bringing an end to the robocalls. And I'm not kidding you. I'm getting a robocall right now, believe it or not. 2 years ago, Congress passed legislation requiring phone companies to install sophisticated caller ID technology to reduce the number of those illegal calls. According to the Education Fund, while most companies were supposedly have to comply by June 30th, some smaller providers were given an extension till 23. Now, additionally, only 27% had partially implemented it, while 56% said they're not using that technology and they are going to use their own method to combat robocalls. So starting next Tuesday, phone companies must start blocking calls from providers who have not reported their progress to the FCC. Huh, yeah. That robocall got me. Normally nothing gets me, Dakota, which is weird because my phone is on silent.
Justin broke a rule. You see, we have a rule in the studio where when you come in, you have to silence all of your phones and pads and doodads. It looks like Justin broke that rule.
I swear I did it, but I didn't.
There's a demerit.
I didn't. I don't know why I forgot. That's what happens. I went to the bathroom 5 minutes before we started. That's why.
There's a reason why you need to upgrade to iOS 15, because iOS 15 you can schedule Do Not Disturb to automatically turn on.
There you go.
Well, I think you could do that beforehand, but that's what I do.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I have that AT&T Call Protect app, but apparently it isn't working. So.
Well, I have my phone set to silence all unknown callers. So
Probably
it's like if it comes through with an unknown number, it just silences it and sends it straight to voicemail. So,
well, one thing that we've sent straight to voicemail is that rain. Just blocked. No way. Last night, coming back from Mayville, it was tough on 86. It was pouring down as forecasted.
Yep.
And I'm sure that probably reflected in some of the gauges across the area. How much have we seen?
You bet it did. These are the rainfall totals, not over the past 24, but 48 hours since the event actually started. How about Ishway in that northeastern quadrant of Cattaraugus County? 2.10 inches. Olean, 1.89, a little more than 1.5 here in town. 1.28 Salamanca, 1.25 Falconer, and a little more than a 3/4 of an inch in Mayville. And the rain came down in buckets when it did rain. This is what's left of the rain. Hey, the Buffalo radar is back after its pedestal replacement. Came back online yesterday, was in testing mode, back in full operation this morning, and showing you this is where that rain is now, basically out to the east of Rochester, going out towards central New York, and this is all with that cold front. You can pick out where the front is. The leading edge or the back edge of the rain is where the front actually is. All of this is spawned out ahead of the front, but notice that low pressure over Detroit, Rock City. You can see all the clouds and rain spinning around that low, and that's in association with that front that has moved through. We're seeing some cloud breaks right now, 56 as a noon hour. It's feeling like fall out there with a healthy south wind of 17 and a wind gust of 25. So let's take you through Future Scan here, and you'll notice how Future Scan is being, I think, a little too optimistic with the cloud breaks, but there will be some cloud breaks through the afternoon, maybe an isolated shower through the afternoon. It's a small chance. And look at what pops up tonight. Those are lake effect rain showers. I scared you for a second, didn't I? But it's lake effect rain showers. We may see them developing mainly across the Lake Erie shoreline and then starting to move inland toward the morning hours on Friday. Then Friday afternoon should be mainly dry, partly to mostly sunny, and then we'll see another chance of rain heading our way on Saturday. Now tomorrow, Jamestown Rebels, first home game of the season, around 60 degrees at puck drop, which comes off at 7:05, and by the time the game ends, we'll be down to around 52, partly to mostly cloudy. So again, no weather other hassles to contend with as you're leaving or going to Northwest Arena tomorrow for the Rebels' first home game. So partial clearing through the afternoon. We stay chilly with a breeze. These temperatures might be a bit overdone. I think some of us, or the majority of us, are going to stay in the 50s. The next 7 days are right on the screen. 63 tomorrow. Got a pair of 6s on Saturday with more rain, a few pop-up drops on Sunday, and then on Monday, just comfortable near 70. And it looks like, Justin, we will get to around 70 by next Wednesday.
Oh, well, that's great news. It's like the third summer or something like that here in Western New York.
We should pull up that graphic that we made. Well, actually, we can't take credit for it because
Right.
Dave Walter from Erie News Now came up with it. We just copied it.
Great idea, though. I mean, it's true. There's like this, actual summer, and then there's fall, and then there's the second summer, and maybe the third.
Or the fourth.
I'm not going to complain about it. You could keep summer all the way till November, snow at Christmas, and then give me spring, January 1st. All right, Dakota, thank you. We'll talk to you in just a minute here. A farm in Kennedy is here. Okay, I'll restart that. A farm in Kennedy is gearing up to celebrate all things alpaca this weekend. Our Alana Wingate hearing from that farm's owner and operator about what's on tap and what it takes to run an alpaca farm.
Three Springs Alpacas are commemorating National Alpaca Day this weekend with an experience they say you won't forget. Owner and operator Stephanie Clark tells us she is excited to celebrate National Alpaca Day, which takes place September 25th and September 26th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at her farm with all her furry friends. Located at 548 Route 394 in Kennedy, Clark and her husband host the event every year, but she says this one will be the best so far.
And each year we try to make it just a little bit better. This weekend we're giving free farm tours first and foremost. You bring your friends and your family out and we'll bring you around the farm and we'll tell you a little bit about the boy alpacas and the girl alpacas, which there's a huge difference between the two other than the obvious.
Clark says she also plans to have new crafts this year as well.
We're going to have the roundback she shed here, and we're going to have Calhoun's crafted ice cream here.
Clark and her husband first fell in love with alpacas after attending a fair in 2005, and the rest was history. Although Clark has other animals, she says the upkeep for her 17 alpacas are pretty straightforward.
We feed them twice a day. They eat grain and grass and hay. That's pretty much what they eat. They have 3 stomachs, so they chew their cud all day, so it's not expensive to feed them. Taking care of them is fairly easy. You clean the poo pile once a day and you're pretty much done.
The poop is of interest to some since alpacas are generally clean animals and only drop feces in specific areas. Another part of the upkeep, Clark says, is having her alpacas sheared once a year.
We use the fiber off of the animals once a year. They get shorn, so we hire somebody to come here and have them shorn for us. And then we use the fiber to make products out of or to make yarn out of so we can make products out of it. And then we sell all of that in our gift shop.
Despite the maintenance being a no-brainer for Clark, when it comes to breeding alpacas, careful consideration is key.
When you're breeding for an alpaca, you want to find one that has something missing from the characteristics in the fiber, and then find a male that has that characteristic in it, so you can put the two of them together and hopefully breed it into that baby.
Clark's farm animals are all for sale and trade. She says you can find more information on her Facebook. Just search 3 Springs Alpacas. In studio, Alana Wingate, WNY News Now.
Alana, thank you. Wow, that's really awesome. I want to go and pet some of those guys. They look super fuzzy. And then, did you notice the difference between the male and the females, Dakota?
No, I don't.
Yeah, the beard. The guys had beards, and the females didn't. I mean, that's what it looks like. The difference is. So it's it's pretty cool. If you got time on Saturday, go check out National Alpaca Day, and that fur is
Can
really,
I be honest?
really
I've
stuffed.
never heard of an alpaca until just a few moments ago.
Really?
No.
I know.
I have never really heard of an alpaca. Well, I've heard of an alpaca sweater.
Right, but not the animal that actually produces the alpaca sweater. Let us know what you guys think in the comments
Maybe
down
I'm
below.
just dumb. I don't know.
Have you heard of alpacas? I don't think so. I mean, I think they're pretty, not rare in the sense, but we don't really talk about that. I think llamas get a lot more attention, right? When you look at them, you could say, oh, that's a llama. No, it's an alpaca.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
For a moment, I thought it was a llama.
I could
but,
see that.
Well, I guess they could be almost from the same family, I do suppose.
Right, right. I would think so. That kind of small horse-like being. I mean, they're not horses. They're a lot smaller. Whatever. All right, that's it for us today. Go check out the alpacas. We'll see you back here tomorrow with our TGIF edition.